All right, it's Chris Honorado and a guest. It's Tim Reynolds from the Associated Press. Your rapid reaction presented by Professional Fire Restoration on the News Channel 13 Facebook and Twitter pages. And whoa, Tim, I knew the deadline was here. And of course, we're talking about that Kevin Huerter contract extension, 4 years, $65 million. It had to be done by 6 p.m. Eastern. And here we are, 6 p.m. Eastern, and the deal is done for our guy from Shen to stay with the Hawks a little more long-term now.
Yeah, it got done kind of around 4:30. There was still a couple I's to dot and T's to cross, but $65 million over the next 4 years. That doesn't count this year. It kicks in with the start of next season. So he's still on the last year of his rookie scale this year. So now he's under contract for 5 more years. Every dollar of it, Chris, fully guaranteed. There's no fourth year option. The last year is only guaranteed for this much. $65 million after this year, fully guaranteed. Kev's set for life. And this is just his first extension. He's got another one coming because I think his career is going to go a little bit longer than 5 more years.
All right, Tim covers the NBA for the Associated Press, and he covers it as well as anybody. Before we get into the reaction of it, Tim has the insight, too, as to whether or not he saw this coming. We'll do all of that. But hang on first, your rapid reaction presented by Professional Fire Restoration.
This, Honorado and Bagnardi, Rapid Reaction is presented by Professional Fire Restoration.
All right, Tim. So you have the insights here. You've got the pipeline to the Huerter family as well. Did you know this was coming? I talked to Kev weeks ago, and I said,
the pipeline to the Huerter family on display.
Yeah. You broke it on Twitter. I saw that's where I saw the news was your tweet. Did you see this coming, or did you think it was going to get down to a restricted free agent situation?
Okay. So did I see it coming? Yes, I did. I have to confess, because he's Kev, because, the Huerters are friends of mine, because I look at, I maybe don't cover Kevin as professionally as I should sometimes, because I root for Kevin. How can I not root for Kevin? So I wanted to see this get done. And it just didn't make any sense for the Atlanta Hawks to not get this done. I mean, look, on the one hand, $65 million, yes, it's a lot of money. It is. It's an enormous sum of money. And you look at it, that's more than some NBA greats made in their career. Remember, it's so different now, though, Chris. It's very comparable to what a good wing player would get. That's kind of the floor for Kevin now, is that number. Luke Kennard's extension, $64 million for 4 years a couple of years ago. The Hawks tried to get Kevin for less, I can tell you that much. This is a number that makes everybody happy. And I'm telling you, at $16.25 million for 4 years, I believe me when I say this, the Atlanta Hawks got a bargain in Kevin Huerter, a bargain. So yes, I did see it coming. I didn't think they would run the risk of going restricted, because then it would have been, 50-50, or maybe, 50-50 at best. Let's put it that way, that they'd been able to have the money to match what anybody would have offered him next summer.
How much? I'm with you. I think it is a bit of a bargain here. I always pegged him for that first contract extension be in the neighborhood of 18. So we're a little bit below that, because I saw guys like Alan Crabb sign a contract extension, and I think he was making 18. Kevin Huerter is a much better basketball player than Crabb. How much, Timmy, do you think that Game 7 in Philadelphia had to do with this extension getting done?
Well, it shows that, he's pretty good going down to the wire. So why would we have expected anything differently today than this thing to go down to the wire? It's a bargain. I mean, look, you're a fan, I'm a fan. We can both say it. We can say it objectively, or we can say it with our Kevin Huerter jerseys and T-shirts. I mean, look, I was rocking Maryland today. And that's only because my Providence stuff for Megan's in the wash. So, I'm and that's true. There are some deals that got done today that sort of boggle the mind as far as what Kevin's potential could have been. Look, he understands that $65 million is more money than he's ever going to need. He also understands it's his first extension. There will be another. He just wants it done. He wants it guaranteed. It was a really smart move by him, smart move by his agents. Mark Bartelstein is one of the absolute best in the NBA. Yep. And Kevin's happy. His family's happy. His future is secure. The rest is just details. Let's go play.
I told you we're going to go down and see him play at State Farm this season. And look, I've never been to a Kevin Huerter game that I wasn't covering, and that includes high school, college, and the NBA. So this will be kind of a fun experience to enjoy it all, and you hope he has a big game, of course. But obviously, hey Kev, what's the ticket situation?
Everybody gets a certain number of tickets with each deal. So there is I would imagine there is a hookup. I think we do know a couple of guys who can get you in. What's funny, having been in NBA locker rooms for as long as I have been, well, actually, you're not even in locker rooms anymore because of the pandemic. But when we were in locker rooms, it's funny to me how even NBA players, a half hour before the game, are still trying to figure out, is my wife coming? Are my kids coming? Is this coming tonight? The ticket thing would have been a brilliant NBA reality show. I'll just leave it there. It would have been an unbelievable reality show, because how they get this done and get these tickets into people's hands by game time is an art in itself. I think Kev would have hooked you up electronically, and long before you and your new bride, congratulations, by the way, before you guys got on your plane to head down.
Yeah, this T-shirt, which I showed you before we popped on here, is Ashley's doing for the game we go to in Atlanta as they take on the Celtics, which should be a good one. All right, Timmy, give me the overall picture here of Kevin's game and what this Hawks team is in store for, as we're, my goodness, 24 hours away from tip-off to the NBA. It's unbelievable how quickly it kind of just jumps on me. You at least cover the preseason, so I'm sure you're ready to go here. But Huerter going into this year, and what the Hawks projection should be, because obviously they surprised some people last year.
Well, I mean, I don't think, listen, if they get back to the Eastern Conference Finals, it was obviously a great year for the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, they had an unbelievable playoff run last year. The reality is, there are the Brooklyn Nets in this conference. The NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks are in the Eastern Conference. The much improved Miami Heat are in this conference. I refuse to count out Toronto. I think Nick Nurse is brilliant. There are 6 or 7. I mean, there's 2 or 3 great teams in the East. Then there's the group, and Atlanta belongs at the top of that second group. I don't call them a great team yet. I just think they're young and still learning, but we see the potential. We see what they can be. The blessing of last season is that they know what to do now. They know what it takes to win playoff games, including game 7s on the road, which is a learning experience in and of itself. The bad news about last season is no one's going to sleep on the Atlanta Hawks, because when they come to town anymore, it's not a night where you can blow off shoot around. You have to look at the scouting report now. So they're not going to sneak up on anybody. I think 45, 47 wins is an excellent regular season for the Atlanta Hawks. I think that's fair. I think they're in the conversation to host game 1 of round 1 at home. That means they're a top 4 seed. Yep. It'll be a great year for them. And Kevin, look, Chris, I made the joke on radio down here a couple weeks ago when the Hawks opened their preseason against the Heat. Kevin wasn't playing. Jimmy Butler wasn't playing. I said both teams were without their best player. Nobody got it. Went right over. Everybody said, I stand by it. Look, Trey gets all the love, and I understand that. Kevin is their best defender, and he is their best passer. Kevin is one of the best passers in the NBA. And people never understood, even at Shen, Kevin Huerter's best skill growing up was passing. And you see it now. There's the fact he can shoot the ball, that's a given. And that's a prerequisite for success in today's NBA. He's become a very good defender. He can create his own shot. He gets into the lane. Ask the Sixers what he does in the lane. But his passing ability is why Atlanta couldn't let him go. He's a very unselfish kid. We all know this. He makes them better. You can't have too many me-first guys on one team. He's about the team, and that's why the Hawks had to keep him.
And look, we saw what he's able to do when healthy, right? And that really bore itself out last season specifically. I said early on, but when he was drafted, I said, I don't know if he ever makes an all-star team, because the all-star stuff gets like a popularity competition in a lot of ways.
Totally.
But I knew that his skill set was going to translate to a contract of this sort. So when all said and done, Tim, how do you evaluate successful NBA careers? If it's all-star teams, it's all-star teams, but if it's longevity, as a guy who covers the league, how do you look at a player and say, this is a highly successful NBA player?
Well, I think you look at, did that guy get somewhere near the utmost out of his potential, out of his skill set? I mean, what's a successful career for one is not going to be a successful career for somebody else. I don't know if he'll ever be an all-star because he'll never have the gaudy numbers.
Right.
He's going to be this guy. He's going to be this 10 to 15 point, 5 to 7 rebound, 5 to 7 assists guy. That's not very sexy stuff, but you don't win without that guy. So he's going to, I think with Kevin, when it's all said and done, he's going to retire with, forget the money, because the money's just wonderful for everybody in the NBA, except beat writers, but we're working on that. He's going to retire with jewelry. That's going to be the thing. He's going to retire with jewelry. I do believe he will be on an NBA champion team one day because he's the kind of guy that helps you win an NBA championship. He's that smart a player. Whether it's Atlanta, whether it's somewhere else, who knows? But he is the type of guy, I don't want him to say glue guy, because I think that has such a negative connotation to it. He's the type of guy who can be like the third or fourth best player on a championship team. Like, I truly believe that. And there's always one of those guys. He has no designs on being a superstar. He has no designs on being a me first 25-point guy. What I'd like to see him, not this year at All-Star because I won't be there. I'll be in Beijing at the Olympics, but next year in Salt Lake in 23 at All-Star, put him in the skills contest,
yes,
in the 3-point contest, something like that. He'll get an All-Star trophy along the way too. Whether he ever makes the game, it doesn't matter. To me, right now, he has maximized and beyond what I think people thought was realistic for him. Go back and look what people were saying 4 years ago. Go back and look what some people were saying after Game 7 last year. Some of the memes, some of the stuff on Twitter, who couldn't believe that this kid was the kid who took down the Philadelphia 76ers. Yeah, if you don't see it in this kid, you don't know ball, because this kid is a player.
Listen, I'm glad I'm not a capologist, because somehow Atlanta has fit new deals for Trae Young, John Collins, Kevin Huerter in already with the money they're giving Bogdanovich and Gallinari. Capella have a new deal in Atlanta too?
They absorbed his
from Houston, but that's another guy they'd have to try to figure out.
So for the beat writers in Atlanta, I guess you're going to be writing a lot of the deal was for the veterans minimum for the next several summers. I mean, yeah, listen, free agency doesn't really exist anymore, Chris. It really doesn't. Like, so many guys are getting locked up. I think there were 11 or 12 rookie extensions this offseason. I think that's the most ever. You see sign and trade. You see guys getting extensions in September. I mean, Giannis was a free agent, but he technically, he never really was a free agent. I mean, there aren't very many. The one in next year's class is Zach LaVine, and everybody knows Chicago's not going to let him go. So teams aren't waiting to spend their money anymore. So you can do what the Hawks and a lot of other teams have done. Spend most of it keeping your guys, using your bird rights, using your other mechanisms to keep your guys and go over the cap, but stay within the rules, obviously. And then just fill out the roster with complementary pieces, because that's kind of all there is. And it's a very weird space that we're in right now. Everybody's got 3 or 4 $10 to $20 million guys. Everyone's got 3 or 4 minimum guys. And then the rest is either guys like Kevin, guys like Trae, who got rookie deals and stayed with that franchise, or somebody you were able to get on a mid-level or part of a mid-level. Like, nobody's getting like 14. Nobody's getting 9. Nobody's getting 7. It's either minimum, mid, or all of it.
And you say maybe the TV deals beyond this current one will be even bigger and salaries will go up. It is the NBA has exploded.
Listen, if this pandemic ever ends, and if the season opens tomorrow night there's only 2 games tomorrow, but when everybody gets into their buildings, there's 29 buildings in the league because Staples, 2 teams. Everybody expects to be full. Everybody expects to have full houses. Adam Silver told us a couple of hours ago, we just got off the phone with him doing his annual preseason call. Adam said the league expects $10 billion in revenue this season. Remember, revenue gets split in this league. $10 billion. We're in the 6th year of a $24 billion 9-year TV deal. Chris, I'm telling you, the next TV deal is not going to be $24 billion. If that's the over-under, take the over. And some of the things they're talking about, look, it's not a coincidence that YouTube TV is the presenting sponsor of the NBA and WNBA finals. Hello, guess where we're going? We're going into the streaming space where all the money is. So, yes, the NBA, if the pandemic cooperates, if we keep trending the way that we are and maybe get our world back to normal, the next deal for the NBA could be just absurdly big.
Well, they're going to get some of my money because with my new schedule now, it makes sense for me to get the NBA package since I'll be at home most nights. So that will be ordered here very shortly.
Like 9. What are you doing? You're going to be in bed at like 9 o'clock most nights, aren't you?
Dude, I was up till past 11:30 watching my Braves last night.
Oh.
Short sleep. Hey, you know a little something about that.
Oh, I haven't slept in 2 months. This is, I mean, these bags, they're permanent. My wife is not very happy with me because my colleague down here retired. I'm covering 5 teams by myself, and she goes, "You're off today, right?" And I just laugh, and then she usually throws something at me.
Yeah, and then here you are, dressed well and ready to go for our rapid reaction.
I'm only dressed well for you. I'm only dressed well for this. If this was anyone else, I'd still just be rocking the Maryland tee and then just saying, "Take me as I am." But when you slide into my DM, I'm running upstairs to get the jacket.
Thank you, buddy, for making this happen so quickly on short notice. And man, great news for Kevin Huerter and Tim Reynolds had it on Twitter. Covers the NBA for the Associated Press and good enough to join us here on Honorado and Bagnardi, the rapid reaction. Coming up on Thursday's show, Chris Rose from the NFL Network. Check us out 10 a.m. Thursday morning right here on the News Channel 13 Facebook and Twitter pages. Timmy, thank you, man.
Anytime, Chris. Take care, man.